Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. We'll give everybody another minute or two to sign on before we get started, so sit tight until then. We'll give everybody one more minute to join and we'll get things started here at 2 minutes past the hour. So getting started very shortly. Okay, we've got a bunch of people online. Thank you everyone for joining us. Let's go ahead and get started. Mateo, you want to kick things off for us?
Of course. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mateo. I'm the manager of the search and advertising team here at Pronto Marketing. And I'm joined today by our managing director, Tim, who before me was leading the search and advertising team. And he has certainly accumulated a lot of experience and ideas when it comes to landing pages. And we also have Pierre, our head of growth and marketing here at Pronto. And together we are going to share why using landing pages in your marketing campaigns is important. But before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that you don't need to take any notes today. You can leave your questions in the Q&A section of your Zoom window, and we're going to answer them at the end of the training. But also at the end of the webinar, you are going to receive the deck, the recording, and all the resources that we're going to mention over the next 30 to 45 minutes. And for those of you who are going to stick around till the end, we're going to offer something really valuable that you don't want to miss out on. All right, Tim, anything you want to add before we kick this webinar off?
No, Pierre will be manning the chat and answering some questions while we go along. But like Mateo said, we'll have a Q&A session at the end as well, where we'll try to get to any questions that we don't cover in the presentation today. I think that's about it.
All right, good stuff. So before going deep into why using landing pages in your marketing campaigns is important, let's pause for a quick second and define what a landing page is. So a landing page is a web page designed specifically to capture a context information in exchange for an offer, like an ebook, a checklist, or a video. However, it can also be in exchange for more information on a company through a demo, a meeting, or an over-the-phone consultation. And ultimately, the goal of a landing page is a conversion or the exchange of a visitor's information for a company's offer. So landing pages get this information through a form on the page. But just because a web page has a form on it, that doesn't make it a landing page per se. For example, a blog post might have a form for someone to subscribe, but the goal of that blog should be first and foremost to educate the readers and not to convert them. In fact, the best landing pages are optimized to get that conversion. And typically through images, specific details about the offer, and reasons why the offer can be helpful to the visitor. So once a website visitor fills out that form, they're typically sent an email with more information on what the visitor was hoping to learn more about, and then redirected to what's called the thank you page, a new web page where they can also access more information. So this kind of completes what's called the conversion path. The visitor goes to the landing page, fills out the form, and then is given the information via email and a new web page. Simple as that.
Yeah, you might have also heard of landing pages referred to as squeeze pages or lead generation pages. There's a lot of overlapping terminology when it comes to different pages on a website. But for today's purposes of talking about landing pages, we're specifically talking about pages that have a conversion goal attached to them, like Matteo said, that you're taking a visitor and trying to get them to give you their name and email address and other information that you can use in your sales processes later on.
Okay, now that we know what landing pages are, why should we care about them and use them in our marketing campaigns? Well, as we just saw, landing pages are meant to facilitate a specific action you want a visitor to take in relation to your business objectives. So landing pages help to improve relationships with your customers, intelligence about your business, and the success of your marketing campaigns. So moving forward, we are going to dive deeper into these reasons and how to create high converting landing pages.
It's also important for everyone to understand how landing pages fit into benefiting your business. There's really two big things here. One is that you're able to boost conversions because landing pages are so focused on that conversion aspect. You're more likely to get people to take the action that you want them to take, whether that's to download an ebook or sign up for a consultation or something along those lines, because you're really funneling them into a specific action. They're more likely to take that action than if they were to sort of meander their way through your website and go to your About Us page and a service page and a pricing page and hope that they eventually get to your contact page and fill out a form there. A landing page is really focused on one specific thing. It also becomes a lot easier to track results when you're sending email campaigns or ad campaign traffic to a landing page, because there's a very clear flow that they're going through. Let's say you have a Google ad campaign going and they're searching for a specific keyword, they're clicking on your ad, they're arriving on your landing page, and they're either filling out your form or not. And so it becomes a lot easier to see what's going on within that conversion path and where you need to adjust results, whether you're not targeting the right keywords in Google Ads or whether your landing page offer isn't something that's enticing enough to them. So with these results, you can then tweak your campaign, different aspects of your campaign, figure out what is and isn't working, and improve those results over time as you make adjustments based on the data that you've collected. So today, what we're going over is essentially a 10-point checklist of the most important best practices that you should be following when you're building a landing page or considering building a landing page for your website or a particular campaign that you're running. So you'll be able to keep this list handy in the future and check it off as you're working through your own landing pages, but we'll go into each of these in a lot of detail and let you know what you should be doing in all of them.
All right, so as we said a few times already, a landing page has the ultimate goal of inducing visitors to take some kind of action on the page. That's what we call a conversion goal. And you usually want to have a single conversion goal per page. That could be a digital download, as Tim mentioned, a form submission to register to a webinar, just like you did to attend this webinar today, or even a consultation request. So keep that in mind, one goal per page. And if we start having multiple goals per page, that will end up confusing most of your visitors as to why they landed on that specific page in the first place. And they'll be more likely to probably bounce and leave that page without really taking any actions. And this also leads us to another important consideration, which is how we are attracting visitors to these landing pages. This is important. And let me give you an example. If you are, for example, running any type of advertising campaign, maybe with Google Ads, and you're advertising on an upcoming webinar, just like the one we did today. Well, your ad copy will already probably mention what the goal of your landing page is going to be in a certain way. So for example, your ad copy could say something like webinar, learn how to build high converting landing pages for your service business. And so when people click on that ad and go to the landing page, well, the goal for that landing page is to convert as many people as possible from the ad to my webinar. I don't want them to download anything. I don't want them to schedule a call with me to discuss their SEO or website design projects. All I want is them to fill out a form and register for that webinar. That's the goal.
Yeah, I think one thing you'll see as a sort of overarching theme as we go through all these points is to keep things very simple and very focused on one thing. That gives you the best chance of getting the results that you're hoping for. Next is to plan the layout of your landing page. Again, here, simple and narrowly focused is better. So this is thinking about how you're going to structure different design elements or content elements on the page, where you're going to place the form and the heading of the page and the body of the text, all that kind of stuff. One useful place to check out is we have a page here. This link here goes to this page where you can check out a bunch of different templates that we've constructed over the years that you can use as a foundation for how you want to build a landing page or a service page or an About Us page. So you can feel free to browse through these, see what sparks your interest. And for the most part, you'll find pretty simple things here that follow the best practices that we're outlining today. And then we'll get into these next ones of content and images in the form a bit more as we work through the next few items. But really the thing to keep in mind here is that all of this should be working together. The way you structure your layout and your content and your images should all be really focused around the goal of your landing page, which in almost all cases is going to be getting someone to fill out a form. So the placement of that form and building things around it, using things to draw attention to that form are all things to be considering as you're planning your page and the layout and the content and images that will follow along as well.
Okay, prioritizing positioning. Above the fold is the portion of a web page that is visible without scrolling. It's pretty straightforward to understand why this part of a page is so important, but you really only have a split second before visitors start jumping to conclusions about whether they want to move forward with your offer. So you really want to make sure to grab people's attention with simple visuals, a clear messaging about what you're offering them, some benefits in the form of bullet points and the form. If you use this space wisely and balance these elements without needing people to scroll, you're well on your way to a high converting landing page.
And something that Matteo hinted at there was keeping your copy and your content really concise as well. And these two sort of go together because they're tied into the idea that you have essentially fractions of a second to make initial impressions. And even once that initial impression is done, people online tend to have a very low attention span where they don't want to read a wall of text and they'd much rather skim and be able to just catch a couple of bullet points or bolded phrases or headlines and subheadlines to figure out what you're pitching and what you're selling. So having your copy set up correctly involves getting a headline that immediately makes it clear what you're offering and what you want the person to do, that you have a couple of quick and easy bullet points for people to understand why they should take the action that you want them to take, what they're going to get out of downloading this ebook or booking this consultation. So you really are looking to get the initial few things right in their face immediately, so you can get that first impression and get them to want to take whatever action you are pushing them to take. Another important thing here is something that's specific to Google Ads, where typically when you're building a landing page, you're not thinking about how it's going to show up in the organic search results. So a lot of times when we talk about keyword usage within content of a page, we're talking about how to get Google to rank a page in its organic listings, the natural listings that appear when you search for something on Google. But there's also a key part of Google Ads that involves using keywords as well. And what Google is looking at is sort of this consistency across the board, that let's say you're running an ad for IT support. Well, someone searching for IT support, the ad text that you're running on Google should mention IT support or other relevant keywords. And when they arrive on the landing page, that landing page should talk about IT support and other related keywords. That level of consistency across the board is going to raise what's called your ad score in Google Ads. And it all affects how much you end up paying for clicks and stuff. There's a lot more behind it, but the general gist there is that when you're thinking about content on your page, if it is going to be for a Google ad, you're sending traffic to that page from a Google ad, you need to be thinking about using the same keywords as you'll be targeting in your ad campaign itself. Mateo's a lot more familiar with Google Ads than I am these days. Is there anything else I missed there, Mateo, about keyword usage?
I think you're pretty spot on that. You generally want to make sure, as you said, that whatever you are advertising matches as much as possible with the content and the text on the page, just so that you don't take your visitors off guard and they don't find themselves on a page that talks about something completely different.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess Google's rules, or not rules, guidelines about using keywords aren't only just rules to make Google happy. It's because they don't want someone to click on an ad for IT support and end up on a landing page that is about cybersecurity. That user is having a bad experience because they're ending up somewhere that they didn't expect. So you want people to have this really easy flow from each phase of your funnel, knowing what they're going to be arriving at, knowing the action they're going to take, and what's going to happen after that action as well.
Okay, so obviously people are very protective of their contact information, and the more information you ask, the less people will feel probably comfortable giving that information away. And that can be a good and a bad thing, depending on what the goal of your landing page is, really. So if you're just giving away a downloadable guide or a checklist, then their name and email address should be enough for you to start using that information later on for other marketing purposes. You could then enroll these people to your email newsletter and wait until these leads mature over time. But if you're offering an over-the-phone 30-minute consultation, you may want to ask more information in order to screen better who's filling out that form. You may want to know how big the company is. You may want to know which city they're in, or whether they're already used a service similar to the one you're offering, for example. So by increasing the form length, you can improve your lead quality, because really only highly motivated visitors will end up taking the time to fill out the form on that page. So always make sure to adapt the form to the specific goals of your landing pages. You don't really need 5 or 6 fields just to download a simple ebook or guide, but yeah, you may want to have more if you're offering something a little bit more high touch.
Yeah, one thing I'll add about, I totally agree with everything you said there, Mateo, about you can filter out sort of the lower quality leads by adding more fields, sort of creating more of a barrier to entry when you're adding more questions. But I think in general, you shouldn't start don't start with 10 fields, start with the best practice of 3 to 5. And if you see that, hey, there's too many people filling out this form, and when our salespeople chase them down, they're terrible fits and we're wasting a bunch of time, then you can go back and say, okay, let's add in a few more required questions to filter out some of those people. But don't assume that you're going to get overwhelmed until it actually happens. I think you're better off having more leads to have to weed through at first and cut it down later than not having enough leads coming in at all. When Matteo and I were splitting up the slides today, I was so happy that I got this one, because this one totally annoys me when I see it not used in the right way. And really the thing is here, you should never, ever use submit or click here as the call to action, as the button on your form. And it just doesn't set a good user experience when you have such a simple call to action on your form, when you could use something so much more impactful. And there's really two things here. One is that you want to make it clear to the visitors what's going to happen when they click that button. So submit doesn't tell them anything. It just says they're giving you their information. It doesn't tell them what they're going to get in return. Same with click here, just telling them what to do and not what's going to happen. So to make things clear, you want to be using strong action verbs with a short description of what's going to happen next. So it could be request a consultation, download your free ebook, get started today, talk to our experts. All those kinds of things are going to have a lot more impact when people are considering whether they should give you their information or not. On a small subconscious level, you're letting them know that they're getting something in return for giving you their information. They're not just submitting things to you and hoping for the best. One other thing I wanted to mention here that we don't talk very much about design and color schemes in today's presentation, but there is one really important best practice, which is the button of your form should contrast highly with the colors, the rest of the color scheme of the page. Essentially, you want it to stand out so that people's eyes are attracted to it. So you can see here in these examples, the orange button stands out quite nicely against the blue background. It's actually the colors that we use for Pronto. Our primary color scheme on most pages is blue, but we use that orange as a contrasting highlight color to draw attention to buttons and things like that. And just below that, the schedule free initial consultation in light blue doesn't stand out very well against the dark blue background. And same with the white button, get your free consultation. That also sort of just blends in with the overall color scheme of the page. Obviously, the get started today is super bright and bright pink stands out. Unfortunately, that doesn't match our color scheme, so we don't use it. So those are the main things to keep in mind when you're thinking about calls to actions and buttons. Use very strong descriptive action verbs and make sure the color stands out against everything else as well.
Generally, maybe still regarding to colors, these in technical terms would be called action colors, and you may want to use all the time throughout your site, not just on your landing page, the same action color. So that sort of trains your visitors that orange or pink means some type of action that they need to take. And in this case, it is to submit their information to you.
Yeah. There's also a whole bunch of psychology on color usage of what color is best, and red stands out more, but sometimes signifies more of like a warning or something's wrong, as opposed to green or blue, which might sort of associate calmness or things like that with. But I wouldn't worry too much about all that psychology. It's really just having a color that stands out and using it consistently, like Matteo said.
All right, well, anything that distracts from the original conversion goal could negatively impact your conversion rate. So for example, you can use images that reinforce the messaging of your content. So if your call to action is to download an ebook, it'd be a good idea to use an image that functions as a teaser for what's inside that ebook. You can also use visual cues to guide people through the action you want them to take. An arrow or an image of a person pointing can draw visitors' attention to your form. But again, your job, or better, the landing page's job, is to direct attention and focus your visitors on to the next step. Yet so few people do this effectively. Landing pages are often full of distractions. As we said before, one page, one goal. That's the rule. So what is a distraction? A distraction is anything that prevents or slows your visitors from taking your most wanted action. So how busy is your layout? How many competing design elements are there, all asking for attention? Generally, I consider everything that doesn't contribute to my most wanted action a distraction. So that could be anything like large navigations that take up a lot of screen space at the top of your page, distracting fonts, distracting colors, except for the action color, moving images. All those things could potentially distract your visitors from taking your most wanted action on that landing page.
Yeah, one common thing you'll see is on a lot of landing pages that the menu is removed completely, except for a link back to the home page. So that's just another distraction where someone might come up here and say, oh, I'd rather look at the pricing page than fill out this form, or I want to read something more about this, this company before I do something. Well, the landing page should have information about your companies, enough information to convince them to convert. But that's an easy one to hide that gets rid of a major distraction on landing pages. Speaking of convincing people to follow through on the action that you want them to, you should be considering that for some of your visitors, particularly if this is like a Google Ads campaign that you're using to send traffic to, this landing page will be the first time they hear about your business and interact with your business in any way. And so they haven't developed any sort of trust in who you are, and you're often asking them to hand over contact information. So you have a limited amount of time to build that trust and show them that you're going to do the right thing and that you're a company that is respected by your clients and works well across the board. So a great way to do this is including testimonials from your happy clients. Could be including a little widget that shows your review scores. Maybe you have your average review score on Google is 4.9, or maybe you have some customer service data that you want to share, show 4.9 out of 5 stars, or you have a 98% satisfaction rating or something like that. Or you can show awards or certificates that you've earned over the years. All of that does a little bit of work to help build that trust and show that prospect or that visitor that they can trust you with their contact information, that you're actually going to follow through on the things you're saying you're going to do.
And here we're almost at the end. After completing your most wanted action on the landing page, those users, those visitors should get redirected to a thank you page. A thank you page, although many people wouldn't consider it as important, it's still another opportunity to drive further engagement with your visitors. At this point, they've already completed your landing page goal, so it's now okay to give them other information. You may want to add links to your blog, to your contact page, or even just a video of you thanking them for registering to your webinar or downloading the ebook that you offered on the landing page. So again, use the thank you page to build your relationship further with your visitors.
And there's still one more thing to do. Even though you've gotten someone to convert, they've gotten to their thank you page, you need to make sure that whatever you've promised on that landing page actually happens. So this could mean sending in a confirmation email to the lead saying, hey, thanks for submitting our form. We got it. We'll get back to you soon. Should be notifying the right internal team members to take whatever actions need to get started on booking a consultation or following up with that lead, or sending something over to them. If you use a CRM, you might want to find ways to add that lead into your CRM. Zapier is a great way to do this and connects with a lot of various tools, connect from your website over to Infusionsoft or whatever other CRM platform you're using, so that lead information is collected in your database for future campaigns that you might be running and reaching out to them about. And you want to make sure you're nurturing those leads. And this is particularly useful in cases where, let's say, they're just downloading an ebook and there isn't a particular action to talk to a salesperson yet. Maybe they're not even ready to talk to a salesperson. They're still in that learning stage about learning about your business or your industry and trying to figure out if it's something they actually want to move forward with. So it might be too early to jump in and have a salesperson call them right away. Instead, you might put them on a series of automated emails that are going to tell them more about what you offer, give them more incentives to reach out to you or book a call, and have sort of that top of mind over a series of a few weeks as you send them follow-up emails, eventually culminating then hopefully scheduling a call with your sales team and moving forward as a customer.
Okay, so now it's time to build a landing page for your business, but maybe you don't know where to start, and it's understandable, but it couldn't be any easier, really. If you're not sure where to get started, a great way to gather some initial ideas is to look at your competitors. This can be done in a couple of simple ways. One, you can either sign up to their email newsletter and see if they promote anything, and if they use any landing pages for the services or products that they promote through their email newsletters. Or even easier, you can go straight to Google and search for the keywords you want to target and start by clicking on a few of the ads that appear at the top of the search results. Those ads, as we talked before, are most likely going to take you to a landing page. Now, you just need to pay special attention to what they're offering on their landing pages and start to think about what you could offer that would be even more enticing to your visitors. But be critical of what you see your competitors doing. Not everyone uses everything we've discussed today correctly on their landing pages. So hopefully this webinar will help you evaluate your competitors' landing pages a little easier, or to the very least, you can start forming some ideas of what's really already out there and how you can do better, or you can just get in touch with us.
We also linked to an article here from HubSpot that I really like, that goes through a bunch of examples of great landing pages. And this is what makes this article so great, is they talk about what they liked about each landing page and what they didn't like about it. So this is a great place to learn a little bit and see some cool examples that might inspire you for your next landing page for your business. So if you're a Pronto client, how can we help? Well, the good news is there's a lot we can do to help. Really what we need from you is to figure out what your offerings or what the goal of the page is, and how you're going to drive traffic to it. That's really going to give us the overall picture of what you're trying to accomplish. And then you should be thinking about whatever special features you need on that page, whether it's particular keywords because it's a Google ad landing page, or there's certain images you want to use, or certain form fields that need to be required. And once you have that foundation figured out, you can email those details over to us at support@prontomarketing.com. And our team knows how to follow these best practices that we laid out today. So they can help write a catchy headline and call to action, figure out sort of the bullet points of the most important features and benefits you want to talk about on that page, put all the designs together, make it look great, draw attention to the right portions of the page, make sure, like I said, that we're following the best practices. But it is important that you give us that foundation. The more information you give us about what you're trying to accomplish, what your marketing message should be, who your audience is, all that stuff goes into helping us build a more compelling and focused landing page that has content and designs and images that are all going to work together to help you achieve the goal of that page. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you're working on a new page and need our help. And that gets us through the checklist today. So we will move on to the Q&A. I have some Mateos that I wanted to, some questions I wanted to discuss with Mateo that I thought would be interesting here. But we have one question already from Armand, and he asks, can the form be on the bottom of the page or should it only be on the top? And what do you think about that, Mateo?
I would say a form can be at the bottom of the page. However, as we mentioned before, anything above the fold usually tends to perform better. You may want to consider adding a form above the fold, so at the top of the page. And if you want, you can add another one at the bottom of the page. But just adding it at the bottom of the page probably will result in a lower converting landing page.
Yeah, maybe one thing I would do if you felt like you wanted a form at the bottom of the page, that you might put some design element higher up on the page, like an arrow pointing down, so that the visitors know there is something further down the page that they're supposed to be getting to. So you have to be, in that case, you have to do a little more work to push people further down the page to get to the form, rather than when you have it above the fold, it's right there in their face and they know what they are supposed to be doing. Another question from Christine here. You mentioned landing page templates earlier. Can we gain access to those templates? Yeah, we'll follow up in an email in a couple of days with the recording, links to the slides, and links to all of these here. So you're more than welcome to dig through this. And if you're a Pronto client, it becomes really easy to tell us what your landing page is about and say, I want landing page style B. And then our team knows to go here, send them a link to this, and they know how to go build this page and put all the right features in. And they'll say, oh, give us some testimonials so that we can put everything together for you. So yeah, we're happy to, part of the reason we built this is so that we can give you examples and you can tell us what you like. It makes it a lot easier to figure out and build things the right way. Mateo, a question I wanted to ask you was, what do you think is what would be considered a good conversion rate for a landing page? Like, are we talking about 10%, 5%, 1%, more than that, less than that? What do you think is a good sign?
I would say anything between 3 to 5% should be considered decent, acceptable. It can go higher, and the reason why some pages convert better than others could be either because the landing page is generally better optimized for conversion. So you have your unique value proposition, you have benefits, and you have your form, and all of those elements work cohesively and well together so that they entice people to to leave their contact information. Really, the offer is enticing itself, so obviously people want to take advantage of it. But also, they can convert higher than 5%, even 10, 15, 20%, if the quality of the traffic of the visitors coming to that page is high. So, for example, if you're running a Google Ads campaign and your targeting is really good, then people who will click on your ad and land on your landing page will tend to convert higher. Again, I think the quality of the offer is what drives conversion at the end of the day. So if your offer is really good, if you're offering something that people really want and don't want to miss out on, then your page is going to convert higher.
Yeah, one thing we didn't talk too much about today was how to track conversion rates. But there's a couple of ways and lots of different tools out there that you can use. Probably the easiest ones to access would be Google Analytics, which if you're a Pronto client, we already have active on your site. We can see how many visitors arrived at your landing page and how many visitors then viewed your thank you page that's connected to that form. You can also get similar data within the form tool that we use in WordPress, show you how many times that form has been viewed and how many times it's been submitted. So that can give you an idea of what your conversion rate is. And like Mateo pointed out there, that a high or low conversion rate depends on a lot of things, not just the landing page. So it does take a bit of troubleshooting and thinking through all aspects of that campaign to figure out what is and isn't working. A question here from Armand: which landing page builder do you use? So all of our websites are built on WordPress. There's a lot of tools out there you can find, like Unbounce, Lead Pages, I forget a few others that are specifically built for sort of drag and drop landing page builders. They give you a bunch of analytics tools in there as well. But there's a little extra work you have to do in those cases to connect it to your domain or host it separately. For our websites, everything's done on WordPress. And if you need a landing page on your site, we'll build it for you on WordPress. Then it's automatically connected within your domain and the Google Analytics tracking that we already have set up and things like that. Another question for you, Matteo, from me is, what about A/B testing? People talk about it a lot, and having just talked about conversion rates a little bit, if someone's conversion rate is low, do you think they should be looking at A/B testing as a potential way to improve that conversion rate?
I would say if the campaign or if that specific landing page is generating enough traffic, enough visitors, then I would suggest running some A/B tests. What we found with our own clients is that in many cases, small local businesses don't get enough traffic, not enough significant traffic in order for us to run tests really to find out which version of a headline works better, or which version of a CTA works better. So in those cases, what we try is more of trial and error, which is not really empirical, is not really scientific testing, but we try our best to optimize landing pages through our own experience. We try to see what has worked well for other clients and try to repurpose those learnings and best practices with campaigns running for different other clients. But yes, A/B testing is definitely something that people should consider if they get enough traffic going to their pages.
Yeah, I guess
and
maybe we should clarify a little bit what A/B testing is, if there's people out there who don't know. It's when you are creating two versions of a landing page and one is slightly different than another. So you might have one headline that says best IT support in Austin and another one that says 5-star IT support in Austin. And so you send 50% of your ad traffic to one page and 50% of your ad traffic to another page and try to figure out which one is converting better. But like Matteo said, unless you're getting a very large amount of traffic and conversions, it can take a very long time to actually get statistically significant results where you can actually know for certain that one is performing better than the other. So if you're operating on a smaller scale and maybe you're only getting a handful or around that of conversions per month, then it's probably best to say, we've thought through this. This is what the best practices say. We're going to try this and see how it goes, rather than spending several months or in some cases even years running an A/B test before you can have enough results for it. Okay, it looks like there's no other questions from the audience, so we can go ahead and move on to our special offer, which I'm very excited about. It's something that we haven't done before. It's not related to any service. We're not trying to sell you anything here. Matteo and I just want to help you have great landing pages. So what we're offering is a free video analysis where you can head over to this page. And again, we'll send links to all of this stuff. Fill out this form and send the URL of one of your landing pages to me and Matteo. And we will create a little video breakdown of what we think is and is not working well on that page. Give you some tips on what you should improve. And if you're a Pronto client, and you agree to those recommendations, we can go ahead and set up a ticket for our support team to make those adjustments for you. So I'm really excited to check out some of your landing pages and give some feedback to all of you and hopefully help you convert a bit more on any campaigns that you're running. And that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for attending and taking time out of your day to join us. Like we said, we'll be sending emails in a couple of days, and we'll send you links to everything in the recording and the slides. If you have any questions about anything, you're also welcome to reach out to me or Matteo directly via email. We're always happy to help out and answer questions in any way we can.
Thank you, everyone.